This is NBC Montana Today.
Good morning, Montana. I'm Jason Hurst. As you pour your coffee and make breakfast, let's get you caught up on what you missed and get you ready to take on your Wednesday. Coming up, a bill strengthening fatal DUI laws in Montana is now headed for the governor's desk. The fight for this bill and what it means for offenders. Plus, measles returns to Montana after more than 30 years. How local health officials are preparing for more cases. And details on an incident in India being described by police as a terror attack killing a large group of tourists.
Well, the time is 6:30 and it's cold this morning. Temperatures low 20s, 23 right now, Kalispell and Butte, 27 in Missoula. Bozeman hanging out right at the freezing mark. You're at 32. Notice down around southwest Montana, high elevation snowfall. That's what we're dealing with right now. Not going to amount to much, but you could see a few flakes of snow over Monida Pass. As we move throughout the day, snow levels are going to increase. We lose the threat of snowfall and we transition to the threat of a couple of spotty sprinkles and showers with just a little light rain in store for you later on today. Missoula, we're going to enjoy sunshine. Temperatures getting close to 60 for us this afternoon. We'll be at 56 in that 2 o'clock hour. For Bozeman, here's a look at your day ahead. Some cloud cover, but overall looking pretty good. 47 at 2. Once we get into that 5 o'clock hour, we're going to throw in a slight chance of a shower or two for you in Bozeman. But again, bulk of the day is going to be mostly dry. Active weather as we head through the end of the week, but also a warm up. Everything you need to know is coming up in 10 minutes.
We begin our coverage by taking a look at Montana's legislative headlines. A bill strengthening laws involving fatal DUIs clears the state legislature. Josh Margolis has the story on the passage of Bobby's Law and the advocates who are celebrating.
Nearly 3 months after its initial committee hearing, House Bill 267, known as Bobby's Law, clears both chambers of the Montana legislature, with the governor expected to sign it into law.
Historically at our state, DUI laws, it's been really hard to reform, and so we were confident, and we kept our foot in the pedal the whole way through.
Mitchell was the neighbor of Bobby Debris, who was struck and killed by a drunk driver while celebrating his 21st birthday in Columbia Falls 2 years ago. The bill creates the offense of aggravated vehicular homicide while under the influence, closing a loophole that allowed the person who killed Debris to avoid felony charges despite being at over twice the legal limit for alcohol.
What this bill does is creates a 3-year mandatory minimum for anybody who kills somebody while in the aggravated state, and I think it's a long time coming. A lot of states have this provision in law currently, and our DUI laws are very lax in the state, and I think this bill puts us in the right direction.
It's a full circle moment for Beth McBride, the mother of Bobby Debris, who founded the organization Montana Bar Ferries to incentivize not driving home drunk. McBride says their willpower helped turn this bill into law.
I mean, this was a grassroots effort. We didn't have a lobbyist come in and do this. It was us, and it was the media and you guys, and we all did it together, and I'm humbled by it.
The Montana Bar Ferries organization has grown substantially in the last few months, with new branches across the state and elsewhere. And leaders say they plan to build on that momentum.
We have a very serious goal of reducing Montana road fatalities due to DUI, and I think that people in Montana have that goal too, and that we can work together to make it happen.
In Helena, Josh Margolis, NBC Montana.
Also in Helena, a whirlwind day at the Capitol for a bill to boost the state's tax incentive program for film productions. Senate Bill 326 narrowly passed the House on a second reading with numerous Montana filmmakers in attendance. It now goes to appropriations with a vote expected later this morning. The bill is likely to be amended, but expected to keep the annual cap at $12 million instead of $30 million in the current bill. Supporters say the bill will allow film production to continue thriving in the state, but critics worry about the bill fueling the Yellowstone effect and it potentially being exploited by large corporations.
There are Montana stories right now that are ready to be filmed. In the absence of a tax credit, they'll go where the films pencil out. They will go to Oklahoma and Alberta.
Trying to attract investment with incentives of this type is the business equivalent of a cocaine habit. The only thing that happens is the cost goes up the more you try.
All current film tax credits are accounted for through 2029. Senate Bill 326 extends the expiration date of the Media Act to the end of 2045. It comes 2 years after a similar effort to increase film tax credits in 2023 failed due to a pair of tie votes in the House. Measles is back in Montana for the first time in decades, with hundreds of cases reported nationwide. NBC Montana's Jacob Owens shares how communities are preparing for future outbreaks.
35 years, that was the last time Montana reported measles cases until 5 cases cropped up in Gallatin County. I spoke with health officials in Missoula Tuesday to find out how they're preparing for a potential outbreak.
We would like for it to not come to Missoula, obviously, but we're definitely prepared in case it does.
FAR says this includes prepping nurses for contact tracing and a table talk exercise Wednesday to walk through a hypothetical scenario. Beyond rash, FAR says measles is highly contagious and can come with dangerously high fevers. FAR tells me a susceptible individual can contract measles just from walking through the same space as an infected person did 2 hours earlier. Susceptible people are those who have never contracted measles and are not vaccinated. FAR says 1 dose of a MMR vaccine gives someone 93% protection. Brooke Kreninger with Missoula County Public Schools says more than 95% of children in the district are vaccinated against measles. An average of 5 to 10 children are unvaccinated per school, with an exemption. Kreninger says these students would likely have to remain home if someone in their school contracted measles.
They would have to stay home even if they had that exemption. I have sent out messaging to families, again, reminding them that this is the case.
FAR attributes the rising measles cases to eroding trust in public health and vaccine, which cuts into herd immunity.
If you're not sure if you're current on your vaccinations or not, then you can certainly give us a call at 406-258-3363.
Reporting in Missoula, Jacob Owens, NBC Montana.
On Tuesday, at least 26 tourists were shot dead by gunmen at a resort in Indian-controlled Kashmir. Police described the incident as a terror attack and blamed militants fighting against Indian rule. The attack appears to be a major shift in the regional conflict in which tourists have been largely spared. 2 senior police officers said at least 4 gunmen, whom they described as militants, fired at dozens of tourists from close range. The officer said at least 3 dozen others were injured, many in serious condition. The gunfire coincided with the visit to India Vice President J.D. Vance, who called it a devastating terrorist attack. President Donald Trump on social media noted deeply disturbing news and said the United States stands strong with India against terrorism. Cardinals at the Vatican are discussing plans for the funeral of Pope Francis. The Cardinals were swarmed by local media Tuesday morning as they arrived. According to the Vatican, the coffin containing Francis's body will be taken to St. Peter's Basilica this morning. The procession will pass through St. Martha's Square and then into St. Peter's Square before entering the Basilica. Pope Francis's funeral will be held Saturday at 10 a.m. local time. The funeral mass will be celebrated in the churchyard of the St. Peter's Basilica before the pontiff's body is taken to the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore for burial. And now Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster is standing by. And Brooke, I guess it's 6:39. That means kids are getting ready for school. How does that bus stop forecast look right now?
You know, they're going to need a jacket. Hopefully they remembered to bring it home from school yesterday because we're starting out with those temperatures in the 20s and low 30s. Here's a live look outside. Clear and cold for you. Flathead Valley, Missoula Valley. It's our Sportsman Ski House weather camera and our Clearwater Credit Union weather camera showing those live looks this morning. Out at the door, temperatures 20s as we head into the afternoon, though. Right around that 60-degree mark by 3 p.m. today in Kalispell. Plenty of sunshine. Missoula, we're going to enjoy the sunshine as well. 45 at around lunchtime. Then we'll get close to 60 degrees in that 3 o'clock hour. We're going to get close to the 70-degree mark by the end of the week. I'll tell you how long it's going to last with our 10-day forecast coming up in the morning sprint.
Coming up, the YMCA Riverbank Run is getting ready to take off this weekend. Alex Hoffman has a preview. And as hikers take to the trails in Missoula this spring, city officials reminded dog owners to check leash rules for their furry friends. The impacts it makes on the environment just ahead. And let's take a live look over Missoula above TV Mountain at Snowbolt from the Community Medical Center weather camera. And Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster has your day planner. That's coming up right after the break.